Welcome back to God of War 3. I think we're finally going to be leaving the box maze of boringness.
The Cosmic Cube.
Who was
There's
that
many cubes
guy?
here. That's Daedalus, Icarus'
Yeah.
dad.
Oh, okay. Did we like him?
No.
But they didn't really get to know him.
Yeah, he was just kind of here.
Cool. Okay.
He's there to be a reference because we've run out of people to use, I guess.
Is there anybody from the Pantheon left?
No.
We're ending this story now.
I mean, I'm sure that
That's your cameo while you still can.
I'm sure that there's more Greek mythology stuff to do. There's a lot of Greek gods.
There always is, but
Like, there's a couple that I don't think they've even referenced. Like, Artemis, I don't think.
Euripides isn't even in here, I think.
Yeah, so they had more stuff that they could have done, I suppose. But
Might have been hard to work them in.
Well, I mean, there might because again, we're talking. I don't have any knowledge of the PSP games and
That's also true.
Ascension. So, for all we know, they could be in those games.
that's true, yeah. But then that would just bring up the question: why weren't they killed? Then, because Kratos likes to murder people.
Maybe
Well,
they were.
the two PSP games are pre God of War 1, I believe.
Yes.
And there, when Kratos was working for Ares, was it?
Yes.
Okay. And then Ares was a dick and killed his family.
Yeah,
Okay.
more or less.
Okay.
Time to walk around every box to search for hidden treasure.
Just in case.
I mean, yeah.
I think there's at least two here.
There's
that have chests.
two, yeah. Yep, there's one.
Yeah, there's one here. Yeah.
So when you're playing this game on New Game Plus,
There is no New Game Plus.
oh, yeah, that's right. You mentioned that before. Not having a New Game Plus in this kind of game is really weird.
Yes, it is.
There are alternate costumes you can pick that give you like stat
Perks.
modifiers.
And you can have, like, the items found that can do things, but it doesn't really, like, change much.
Yeah, because, like, if you miss an upgrade in this game, after a couple of rooms, you basically just you can't get it. It's just gone. So I was wondering, like, what would happen if you found an upgrade in a New Game Plus when you had already maxed everything out.
Well, in God of War 2, it just became a chest full of red orbs.
Okay, which I suppose is fair. Although even after a point, when you max everything out,
You don't need them.
you don't need them. But at least it's something.
Yeah, I was going to say, technically it's still something.
Yeah, but it is really weird to not have a New Game Plus in this sort of, especially when it was in the previous games. Did this game come across as rushed? Because I can't really tell having not played
A
it.
little bit. Obviously, the production values are very good for the PS3.
Because it was, I think, 4 year gap between this
Yeah.
and God of War 2. So there was a lot of hype for it, no doubt. Rushed? I won't think so, but I think just by design it was just meant to be shorter because it's the conclusion of the story.
I mean,
God of War 2 ended with Kratos about to hunt down Zeus and the rest of the Pantheon. And that's where the game decided to end. It was like the Halo 2 or 3.
Yeah, for some reason it was really popular to just bust players' balls with that during that
Yeah.
time period.
So 3 was always meant to be the conclusion, but it's also like it felt like the final chapter of God of War 2 with its length. Because again, this is the shortest game of the God of War trilogy, the original trilogy.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that might also have something to do with the game's poor storytelling, because it's effectively trying to be the last half of a book, effectively. Like, if God of War 1 was a full book and God of War 2 was a full book, God of War 3 is like the second half of God of War 2. Or the last three chapters.
It's like the scouring of the Shire in Lord of the Rings, where we defeated Sauron and we dropped the ring in Mount Doom. Well, let's have another 4 chapters of them going home.
Okay, we gotta fade to black another 6 times.
Eh.
We already faded the black 8 times last hour.
Is it 8 times?
No, I don't know. It's been a while since I watched Return of the King.
Do you watch it extended version or normal version?
Extended.
I don't watch it. I have not watched the extended cuts of any Lord of the Rings film.
I've only.
Oh, really?
That's interesting
No.
because I've only ever seen the extended cuts. That's the only version we own.
Like I watched I caught all the movies in the theaters, and then whenever it was on cable, I would sit down and watch them. But I don't think I've ever deliberately sit down and watched the extended cut.
I would say 1 and 2 are ones you should definitely watch extended cut. 3 you can get away with because that movie.
But what does 3 extend?
It gives a little more stuff for both, like Saruman's death and all that at the second at Isengard.
Okay.
It does more with like those ghost guys.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
That was such a cool concept. It's like fucking in 2 scenes and that's it.
Yeah.
Hey, can we like be free now? And it's like, no, you're a ghost army. You're awesome. But come on, dude, it's our promise. Fine. Sorry, I just love DM of the Ring so much.
Oh man, but I mean, it was a good point. I mean, they have to go and fight Mordor now, and they're just gonna
Leave?
peace out.
It's like you guys are a bunch of ghost armies. You don't have to like sleep or rest or eat or anything. Just float on over to Mordor and kill all those fuckers.
I mean,
What are they gonna do? Throw a knife at you?
not to mention they've been cursed for like what, a couple hundred years. What's another 3 hours gonna gonna mean to them at that point? Then again, I think that it's probably Aragorn's fault for having being
poor
way too
wording of the
specific with
promise.
that
Yeah.
with that contract. This is why you look up all of those genie wish
The terms and conditions.
the genie wish prompts for whenever you do anything like that.
I wish for $1 million, a million deer stampede by.
Oh, that was
That was an Animaniacs joke.
I mean, oh man.
I wish for fame and fortune. Here, subscriptions to Fame and Fortune magazine. The satyr's worst enemy.
What makes them the worst enemy?
They dodge way too much.
They dodge way too much and they get in order combos with their long weapon. Just grab you.
Yep.
So you're saying they actually put up a fight?
Yeah.
Yes, but at the same time, this isn't a game where you have like a one-on-one combat system.
Where do you... Actually, that's a good question. Maybe I've asked this before. Where do you guys draw the line in enemies having the same sort of abilities that you do in terms of giving you a challenge?
I am assuming we're talking about random mooks, because if we're talking about a boss fight, that's its own kind of separate realm.
Well, let's break it down. Both of them, then. Let's start with mooks.
I guess it's
Because,
just a matter of how much work it takes.
Yeah, we go on and on about, like, sometimes we decry games of having bad enemy design, mainly because it can feel cheap with what they can do. And more often than not, it's because they can do exactly what we can do. It's just that we're on the receiving end of it. And I feel that sometimes that's what we get angry about. That we're not
to an extent, but that's also kind of a thing where, as a player, that's kind of the point. Because if every enemy did the logical thing, like, oh,
then
we
it's
have
Dark
like,
Souls.
well, no, it's like if every enemy in video games, or everyone makes a joke in kung fu movies, it's like, why don't they all just dogpile him?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, then there wouldn't really be a game here or a fun thing to experience.
For me, I think it just depends on, like, how they jump between, like, the jump in difficulty from the last enemy. Because, like, if most of the enemies in the game are fairly simple to take down, but there's just this one asshole who you have to, like, stop, wait, parry, break their guard, do a few hits, then
Hi,
they get
Marauder
back up.
from Doom Eternal.
Then they get back up and you have to do that 4 more times. Then that's annoying when everybody else you can just walk up and smack. Maybe, like, one guy you have to wait for their weak point to open or whatever. I think it's a matter of how difficult they are to get hits on, / how resilient they are, / how easy it is to... It's a lot of different things, which is part of what makes this not an easy question to answer. But I think for the most part, it's how they compare to the other enemies in the game, because I've never played Dark Souls, so I'm just going to go off of what everybody tells Dark Souls is like, and just assume that they're all being legit about it. Like, apparently every enemy in Dark Souls is hard, So one guy being particularly annoying doesn't bother people because that's just the style of game you're going for. But in a game like this, where it seems like most of the enemies you can just walk up and smack them, when you have that one guy who takes way more work, then it just feels, to be out of place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I know a few places where I was like watching streams of Doom Eternal, but the Marauder is a perfect example of that because obviously we've done Doom 2016 for the channel, and Doom Eternal plays relatively the same. So you know where I'm coming about, where I say, that game is built on aggression, not mindless aggression, mind you, but the point of the game is to be as aggressive as possible against all these things you're trying to kill. If you're losing health, the way to solve that, be aggressive and kill enemies faster. So here comes the Marauder in Doom Eternal, who is described as in-game as the defensive powerhouse. He has a shotgun, he has a long-range attack, he has basically a lot of things you can do as the player. The problem is, in order to fight him, you have to play basically Street Fighter footsie with him. You have to find you have to find the right spacing where he'll do his "you can attack me now" attack. And that's just not how the game is designed.
It goes against the conventional rule set that Eternal sets up beforehand.
Yes.
Yeah, because...
And is Marauder the only enemy that does that?
Yes.
The exception rather than the rule.
Actually, you know what? I think a game that avoids doing this is Streets of Rage 4, which is awesome, for the record. Love that game. That game has a lot of enemies, but none of them feel like they're super annoying because they all have different patterns. Yes, and
I'll argue the counter kung fu guys.
The guys with the gis.
You the guy with the keys, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I know what to do with them, but I feel they are the worst enemies in the game for wrong reasons.
Well, I find them to be super easy because all you have to do is walk up, grab them, throw them, they get back up. They do one of two poses.
You can't grab them though while they're doing their counter stance.
Yeah, no. So they've got two different poses. They've got the one where they look like they're gonna punch, and then they have the other one which is like, "Give me a hug." If they have the "give me the hug" pose, you can walk up and grab them again, and then throw them.
Are you sure? Because
yes,
I'm
sure.
Tried it before.
Like you can get through them without taking a single hit doing it that way.
I've had many times where I tried to grab them while they're doing their counter pose and they counter.
You're talking about the big fat guys.
Yeah, the bald dudes. Yeah.
Yeah, the bald dudes. Yeah, all you have to do is walk up and grab them. It really is that easy.
No, I'm telling you, man. You're talking about you're talking about being able to grab them while they're doing their counter pose.
No, you don't even hit them at all. Like you don't punch.
You don't. Yeah, no. I know how throwing works. It's just.
But no, what I'm saying is that you don't even have to punch them once in order to kill them. If you try to punch them, then they'll counter. But if you don't punch, then they don't counter. So all you have to do is grab, and then they die.
No, but they do their counter poses regardless if you're attacking them or not, though.
No, not always.
He's saying that the counter pose doesn't necessarily matter if you're just walking up to grab them.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it does because I've had countless times where they did their counter poses. Like, obviously, I'm not going to attack them if they're doing their counter pose because they're going to counter. That's the entire point.
Yeah, and then
but I'll go up to them to grab them instead, which you don't need to attack at all to grab. You can just hug them and throw them. I've had a lot of times where I go up to grab them while they're doing a counter pose, and they hit me. Yeah. I didn't even attack them. I just tried to throw them.
What difficulty are you playing on?
Normal.
Normal? Okay, well then, I've played and beat the game like a good 7 or 8 times at this point, and trust me, all you really need to do is go up and give them a hug. It really is that easy. I don't know what you're doing wrong, but I'd have to see your gameplay footage to tell you what you're doing wrong.
Ted flexing here. Wow.
I'm not. Well, here's the thing. I'm not trying to.
I know. I'm joking.
But here's
Ted doesn't. No, you see, the difference is Ted is not trying to sound like a conceited asshole.
I just am one.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna. Here's the thing. I'm not blaming you for having trouble with them because the level that they're in was the demo level in PAX. At PAX when I played the demo, and I died to them when I tried to play them. So, trying to get back to my original point is that there is a way to get past them without much trouble. There's a way to get past every enemy in that game without much trouble. You just have to find the way to do it. So I can't tell you what's causing you to have trouble with them without seeing you play the game myself effectively. I can only say that under my experience, I find them to be one of the easiest enemies in the game.
Because I got into the habit of wanting to throw them all the time, especially in this one sequence where you're up on an elevator.
Oh yeah, the elevator sequence. That's
And you can break the windows and the sides, and
yeah,
you can toss everybody out.
Yeah, you just chuck everybody backwards, and oh man,
Yeah.
that section is so cool though because the music's all like, and it's so good, and then you're throwing the guy, and then there's the fat guys, and they're like, and then you throw them backwards, and that game's so good. Oh my gosh, I really hate that we can't do cons this year because I would really love to be able to do that multiplayer, 4-player at a con.
You can.
But yeah, but not for like another 12 months, which makes me sad.
I mean, we'll get to it, so it's something to look
No, I
forward to.
mean, we just
Ted.
use Parsec.
We use what?
Parsec.
What's Parsec?
It is a program that allows you to share your desktop with friends and all that. And you can plug controllers on your computer, and it'll act as if you're plugging controllers on my computer. And we could do 4-player co-op that way. That's how I ended up recording multiplayer for Kirby Air Ride.
Huh, okay.
At the same time, I would also rather wait until we were in person to do that.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it would be easier just to do like Castle Crashers, which has 4-player online co-op.
Yeah.
Also, are we leaving her behind?
Well, we did leave her behind to go break the chain thing.
Okay. And she's screaming like, help me, and we're like, nah, bitch.
No, we're coming to go get her. Problem is, we're going to be too late.
Yeah, we left her originally to break the chains, and now we're done, but now she's in trouble.
And we're gonna fuck up and not save her.
It's all right, Kratos.
Then why were you screaming for me?
Remember your purpose, Spartan. Remember why you have come so far.
I didn't forget.
Did you, Kratos? Did you really?
I've killed every god along the way,
Yeah, but...
even a few titans.
Yes, but did you remember?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Goodbye, child.
So Pandora doesn't die, then.
Loading. There we go.
It was right before a Fade to Black, god damn it.
Yeah. Well, it was clearly trying to load this area.
Oh, we must really be at the end, then, because I'm assuming this leads all the way back to the top of Olympus.
Yeah. Which is
Cool.
very convenient, but...
I mean, granted, I shouldn't be laughing.
Come on, man. God
that
of War
the
1
game
and 2 didn't have
has
this problem.
Every game
You're supposed
needs
to be
load, but
God of War 3, man. You're on PS3. 3 more than 2.
PS3 Fat go... brrrr.
Oh my god.
oh,
It froze on me.
so it did.
That
come
might be
back.
your console.
No, it wasn't. I just booted it back up and it was fine.
Okay.
Oh,
Something
man.
something probably just didn't load properly.
Oh man.
Because no, my PS3 works totally fine, which is nice. But yeah, that's that part of God of War. We'll see you in the next one.